So if the entire program in one file, it could become quite unmanageable.
Challenge number, it's just hard to, like, you know, where we want to modify things, where we want to add things and so forth. That's number one. Number two, if your program grows and constantly, you'll realize that compile time will slow down. It's going to get a little slower to compile a program which is 200 lines of code, 300, 500, 700, 1,000, 3,000, 4,000, 15,000, 2 million of we're with in this direction. It's not an unheard of. It's normal, okay? And that's going to take overnight to build. Depends how much memory you have, how quick your machine is, and so forth. Therefore, there are other challenges to this long, ugly file, main.cpp, which initially includes everything. So let's actually split it up and see if we can find some benefits from organizing our program, using multiple files. Step number one, file manager, and I would encourage you that you should be able to locate where your project is. If you have hard time finding where your project is, not think about it and forget where it is, you can always go to, say, project, I guess, project properties, view, and this is the name of our project. You can right click on it and say properties, and I think it should show me where it is. You know what? Yeah, it's using environment variables. I guess a way to find out is that you can right click on main.cpp and say copy full path. Okay, if you copy full path, you can go to your file manager and you can go to your address bar and press Control V or whatever paste functionality is, remove main.cpp, and this is the location of my source file. So if I hit enter, that's my source file. So let's again, you're saying that if you go to, if I right click this. Okay, go back to properties and this one? Oh, so, oh, I see. You're asking me to go to the solution? Uh-huh. Oh, I'm sorry. I see. I see what you're saying. Open folder in, oh, I see. Perfect. Thank you very much. I actually didn't know that that option existed. Thank you. There. Right. So anyway, you should be able to find it this way, and let's keep this one. I'll close this window so I don't need two windows open. All right. So our file is under source. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Right-click and say new and text document. Just create plain text. All source code is plain text. And so notice I found main.cpp. And now I'll call this ping pong. And make sure I say CPP. And say yes, rename it. Now, if you don't see what, if your display is different, then you should go to organize and folder and search options, and make sure that you click on view and make sure that you uncheck hide extensions for known file types. You just, you have to uncheck this, otherwise you won't be able to see file extensions. And you can see that in our world, file extensions play a huge role in what we do. So uncheck that. Yes, another. you're absolutely right. We can do this from Solution Explorer. I just wanted to demonstrate that this is simply a file which I can create on my own. But you're absolutely right. I can go to Source Files, right-click, and say Add New Item, just like we created main.cpp. And you're absolutely right. Just over here, name it appropriately, and click Add, and make sure that we place it in source and so forth. And yes, you can create an empty file this way. But since both ways are perfectly fine, right? I just wanted us to make sure that we can locate where stuff is, and still I need to go to my source files, and I need to let compiler know where that now my project will contain multiple files. To do that, I simply go to source files, right-click, and say Add existing item, because I have already created a file. So this time, existing item, and go down to source and ping pong and add, and it gets added to the project. So that now compiler will be facing the challenge to compile not just a single file, right, but multiple files, right? So now this time, let me erase this. And so now our C++ compiler will get to compile main.cpp, and it will get to compile pingpong.cpp. We don't know in which order this will be happening, but it will process both. And the outcome of this will be that the two object files will be produced. One object file and another object file as well will be produced as a result of this compile or build process. And then the two of them, likewise, will be given to the linker, and the linker, right here, the linker utility will produce the executable file on my system here, right? On your Linux box, it can be a.out by default. Okay, so that's the process that we're actually making some progress into making sure that we're now able to work with multiple files. So if I double-click on this pingpong.cpp, which kind of gets open here automatically, but I'll try to open it the regular way, you can right-click on the tab with the object with the source file name and say New Vertical Tab Group, so that we can see them side by side. And now we can close this window and you can see them side by side. It's an empty file, so this is not very helpful, but at the same time, I don't think it's a problem if we say build. It still should build fine, because empty file is not an offense. There are no syntax errors associated with it. What if I took my function declarations and my function definitions, pretty much everything that I personally can associate visually with ping pong business, and Control X, cut, and paste them here. Okay, so now I'm trying to make my entire project more manageable, number one, more manageable, and essentially keep my main business in one file and all business associated with ping pong in a different file. So that's step number one. So that's the direction in which I'm going. And now if I attempt to build this, build solution, a number of things happen. A number of errors do happen.